What misconceptions of disability inclusion do you see in business?
I see misconceptions of disability inclusion in business everywhere. And I suppose that doesn't necessarily just reflect badly on business. I think it's actually a little bit deeper than that. And I think it's actually in the society we live. The international sign of disability that we see on all disabled toilets, on all disabled parking bays, is a wheelchair, but only 7% of people with a disability use a wheelchair. So that instantly kind of skews that view of disability. And actually, the majority of people who live with a disability have a hidden disability. Often it's seen that by employing someone with a disability, you're going to come up against loads of costs, and there's going to be a huge raft of reasonable adjustments that you need to put in place. And that's simply not true. The Business Disability Forum have done a lot of research into this, and they've found that the average cost of a reasonable adjustment is £75 in the UK. But actually, in reality, the majority are free. It's just like slight changes in behavior. So yeah, the misconceptions of disability inclusion in business, I think, are everywhere, but I think they're also everywhere in society, and it's down to us to get conscientiously curious and let's start educating ourselves.
What inspired you to pursue a career in disability inclusion?
As with many people working in the disability inclusion space, the drivers for me getting involved were personal. I became disabled through an accident, and my injury was very sudden. And I went from someone who was identified through my physicality and I suppose my ability, to someone having to confront the word disability. And my injury happened kind of instantaneously, kind of overnight. And so I can clearly see how everyone treated me so differently because I had a disability. And that also included myself, right? I viewed myself differently because I had a disability. I suppose I saw disability from how it's framed in the media. There's really two parallels that you see in the media, and that's like held on an absolute pedestal for being a superhuman, or actually a real negative burden on society that is needing a lot of support. I was being written off before I'd even been given the chance. And I knew that experience was not just being faced by me. I knew that so many other people with disabilities were having that same experience. And I suppose I felt that was inherently wrong, and unjust, right? And I suppose I just got curious. I got curious, and that curiosity opened my eyes to a whole world which I didn't know about, and I wanted to get stuck in and make an impact, and hopefully make things better. Something that isn't discussed enough, because I think it hits home to too many people, and it's a little bit too close to the line, is ultimately by creating a disability inclusive culture or supporting more people with disabilities, you're arguably helping your future self. The majority of people will become disabled for some point or another within their life. And 82% of all disabilities are acquired within like that working age lifetime, right? So actually, yes, it's doing the right thing. There's loads of opportunities around productivity and kind of all of that other kind of business talk. But actually, you're likely supporting your future self.
How has your personal experience shaped your perspective on workplace accessibility?
My personal experience has obviously really shaped my perspectives on accessibility, and really what accessibility means. And through that kind of curiosity, I've kind of seen that it's so much more than just a wheelchair access or a wheelchair accessible lift. Who thinks accessibility is an electric toothbrush? An electric toothbrush was developed for people with disabilities, but it's better for everyone. So I guarantee if you go to the dentist, they'll say use an electric toothbrush because it's better for everyone. We can talk about audiobooks, right? Where audiobooks came from, that was an accessibility feature for someone with a disability. And now so many people absorb information through audiobooks and podcasts and different things like that, right? The list goes on. I could sit here for hours, but let's think about accessibility differently, that it's not just for people with disabilities. It's actually for everyone, and the likelihood it just makes everyone's life a little bit better.